Welcome to the DIY Writer Show with the mild-mannered, slightly heroic host, Jeff Bacon.
This is Jeff Bacon with the DIY Writer Podcast, and today I have Sahara Foley with me. Sarah, we have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Oh, you do. All right. Tell me all about how your day's going.
My day today,
Yeah.
just normal day. Well, except I'm not working, so I'm here. I work at home, so it's the same day every day.
Yeah.
So basically,
Yeah.
I have cats, so I just adopted 2 senior cats for me for Christmas. So yeah, so I got some new family members.
How many cats you have?
2. We're only allowed 2 pets in our apartment complex.
Okay.
So yeah. So at one time I had quite a few.
Well, 2's enough. 2 might be too many.
You don't like cats?
What's that?
You don't like
It's
cats?
not that I don't like cats, but they're just trouble.
They are always looking for trouble. I have to agree.
They're always, you
Yes.
can't have
Mhm.
you can't just lay a loaf of bread on the counter.
Mm-mm.
You just can't, there's a lot of things that, oh, I'm just gonna set my cup here, and all of a sudden you turn around, crash, and the damn cat's up on the counter and
Yeah.
running around. And I do so enjoy all of the cat memes that happen on Facebook during the time where they're destroying the trees and stuff like that.
Yes. Yep.
It reminds me of times when we've had cats, and it's just like, they're so cute and cuddly, and then they turn into Satan, and then you're just glad when they finally go.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I think that's what the difference, because I've always had cats that were kittens that grew up with me. So these ones are adopted. So I really don't know them that well. They don't really know me that well. Yeah. So it's a little bit different. They're not quite as adventuresome as younger cats would be.
so growing up on a farm, we had cats all over the place.
Oh yeah. Farm cats.
And they're always out hunting or doing something, just whatever. And we actually had an old chicken coop that we let them stay in. They come and go as they please, and a little heater in there. And it was good. But they, at one point in time, we could have had 100 cats. Who knows? They're
That's
just
a lot.
all over the place. That's
Well,
probably an
propagate.
embellishment, but
Yeah.
they're a bunch.
Yes. Yep.
My grandpa was the same way. He just take a 50-pound bag of cat food, just rip it open and lay it down. They just eat it, and when it's gone, he'd open up another one, throw it down, and that's how he fed them.
Yep.
There's no putting a dish out there. There's just too many of them, and they'd all run into the shop and grab their food and leave. But I like cats as an animal. When we first my oldest child, she's 30 now, but we had cats. I always thought a house cat would be really cool, and it wasn't.
Yeah. They're different having house cat. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we used to take kittens and raise them if the mom was having problems for some relatives back in home in South Dakota. And you bring them, and about the time they start getting into stuff, it's like, yep, they're ready for the farm.
Yeah.
And the last one we had was such a terror that we just decided no more cats ever again.
Yeah.
So,
They have their own personalities. I've probably had about 25 cats in my lifetime, and there's probably about 3 or 4 of them that stick out to me as my favorites.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. The difference that everybody knows about a dog versus a cat is a dog's there to please you. A cat
no.
really doesn't care if you live or not. I always like the thing. Well, a dog will, if you end up dying in your home, the dog will lay there and starve and protect you, where the cat will just eat you. It's
Yep,
like,
that's
yeah,
right.
okay. All right.
But if you understand that about cats, though, so my late husband always said I was feline in nature, so that's why I like cats.
They get along well.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you have this entire series on Excalibur. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite out of all the stories that Bob wrote. This was my favorite of all of them. And Arthur Merlin in the first book, The Secret of Excalibur, is so much Bob. It's just, it was hard for me when I rewrote it.
We should probably back up just a little bit and explain how Bob's involved with this.
He wrote the stories back in the 1980s. He wrote all these stories out on, paper, notebooks. Tried to get them published, a couple of them, but poor man, he just didn't understand that they needed work. And even when I was one who typed them up to send them to the publishers, and I would be typing them going, oh my God, they need work, but he just was the type of person that once he wrote them, that's how it was. He didn't realize they were rough drafts still,
Yeah.
So he gave up after none of them got published. But they followed around with us over the years as we moved from place to place. And after he died, then I brought him out because I always wanted to publish him, especially after self-publishing came out.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew he would want to publish them the way they were, and not made them better. So after he died, then that was my saving grace. After he died, I was like, what am I going to do with myself? My life was just totally gone, empty. And then the box of manuscripts that had been sitting around for decades popped in my mind. I went and found them and started working on them. And that is what helped me get through losing them. It really helped a lot. But that's where the stories came from him. They were his ideas. He could look at something and the story would pop into his mind. It was just amazing. He was a very fluid writer. He used to write me little notes and stuff, and that's why I always doubted myself afterwards, because I just don't have those stories floating around in my head. But does Excalibur, the first one, he named it Arthur Merlin, and my publisher at the time said, no, that's not a good title, so I had to rename it. Because he named it after, he called it Arthur's Story, is what the original name of the story was, Arthur's Story. And my publisher was like, no one will buy that kind of story with that kind of title. So I renamed it The Secret of Excalibur.
Okay.
But it's Bob's voice. So it was really hard for me to work on that because it is Bob's voice in there, though I added to it a lot, built the characters up. He had good characters, but I added more dimension to them. I added more personality to the characters. And then the second one, The Revenge of Excalibur, I didn't even know if I was going to go on with the series after that, because most of that book was gone. Most of the manuscripts from that was gone. I had the beginning, I had the end, and a little bit in between. And so I built that one more or less from what I remembered reading about it years ago. And that one is my voice. That one is Pamela, which is actually my name. So, because Sahara is my nickname or my pen name. Yeah. So Pamela, that's in the second book, is more me, my voice. And then it went on from there when Corinne came around. But he built those characters on me to begin with. When he wrote Corinne, when Corinne kicked in and Corinne Wirechild, he based a lot of that character on me at that time. So, yeah. And everyone loves Corinne. That's one of the favorite characters in my books, Corinne Alurga.
Okay. So these stories are Arthurian in nature, and it's a mashup.
It started that way based on Excalibur. Okay. The thing is so Arthur had a head injury, and after he had this head injury, he was from America. He started getting the sensation of being pulled over to England. So, and he also ended up developing powers. He could teleport, he could start fires, he could do anything you could think of with your mind, and he could do it just from, and it's ironic because Bob, my late husband, had severe head injury when we were together. He had a gutter full of ice fall like 3 floors down and hit him on the head, knocked him out. And that's, I think, probably where the story started from, because that is part of Arthur, how he ended up with the superpowers as he had. A gutter full of ice fall on his head and knock him senseless. And so, so then he goes to England, runs across to go to the Institute of Psychic Research in England after the FBI and CIA and all those people tried working on Arthur and wanted to control him, like the government types like to do. So that's where he meets Ruth Burns, who ends up in the story. And then that's where they start their little jaunt looking for Excalibur. But they didn't realize that that's what they were looking for. He was just being called. It's a calling into him to go to England. And then when he got to England, he knew he had to go further than that. And that's where they discovered the secret of Excalibur. It was quite Yeah, it's a mashup. Urban fantasy, sci-fi, and then the second book is more sci-fi, paranormal romance. And so, yeah, it's been hard to find Target. You know, at the time, back in the 1980s, they didn't have all these different genres, subgenres.
Right.
You just had science fiction, you had fantasy, romance. That was it. Now you've got paranormal romance, and you've got reverse harem. You know, I mean, there's just all these different subgenres. So, where do you fit it in at? You know?
Well, they're trying to make it easier by making it harder.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, they were trying to narrow down their audience. For marketing purposes, it makes sense. But when you have a mashup of genres, it's hard to market it. But, you know, from what I've heard from other authors too, some of their readers want mashups more than just the same stereotype type of book, you know.
Mhm.
So it gets a lot of reviews, good reviews and raves about it because it is so different and has a very unexpected twist at the end, which most people would never ever guess what happens. But
Sorry, I'm rubbing my eyes. I'm still a little tired from last night.
I'm sorry about that.
No problem. The story behind that is we're actually recording this on January 1st, 2021 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And somehow, some way, I had a software issue. And we got this scheduled. And I decided not to change it just because it's 1 o'clock. And well, New Year's Eve was fun. Even though, I mean, it was in our house. Yeah, we got COVID and everything else. But yeah, I, probably stayed up way too late. And there was some drinking involved and everything else. But yeah. It was a good day, and I was just kind of teasing her. I'm like, I can't believe I let this go. I should have went back to bed, but that's all right. Anyway,
It means it'll just be a good episode.
yeah. So if anybody sees, the video of this and you see me like rub my eyes, it's like, oh, I'm just trying to focus here. What the hell? Not really hungover, but maybe. I don't know.
Oh, just watching too much TV.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So anyway, we've got all this backstory stuff happening here, and everybody's going, where's this podcast going? We're going to talk about books. So you took all those books that your husband started and kind of redid them.
Yeah.
And there are 4 books. And then you released a box set in January of last year.
Mm-hmm. Yes. There's actually another whole book to the last one, Korean Warrior Woman, but I could only find half of it. And it's such a bizarre, that really went off into bizarre, but I like it. I just don't think there's any way I can actually sit down and rewrite it. So I'm going to try to figure out how to do it, because I've had people ask me for more Korean. And it's like, okay, there's one out there, but I just don't know what I can do with it.
Have you ever thought about maybe passing it to a consultant and having them just kind of take a stab at it real quick and write, I don't know, 300-word plot points?
Yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah.
Maybe,
It's almost still at handwritten notes, though. That's the whole thing.
Just type them up and add whatever you want, and then send it to basically a glorified beta reader and say, okay, where do you think I should take this, or something like that. Get somebody else's eyes on it and see if it wouldn't work.
Yeah, it's something to think about. Yeah,
play with it a little bit.
Yeah, he does. I do have other stories there in the box too, that in fact, it's so ironic. My next series that I was going to do, I had called it Death Fever. So you can guess what that is. And so I started working on it, and there again, it's another one of his series that I liked. Well, then COVID hit, and I was like, do I really want to write a book about a pandemic right now? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It just took the wind out of my sails, and I thought, no, I'll put it off to the side. But I was telling my sisters about it. I said, actually, it gives me great firsthand experience, because now I know what it's like to live through a pandemic. Before, when people wrote about them, they didn't know all the consequences, the people going crazy and buying up crap out of the stores that they don't really need.
You mean like toilet paper?
Yeah, like toilet paper. Oh my gosh.
I had to laugh because there's a 6-roll thing of Charmin on Amazon for like $47.
What?
Yeah,
Ugh.
like in March or April or something like
Yeah,
that. And
when
I'm
they
just like,
were,
you
when,
gotta be
yeah,
kidding me. Yeah,
yeah.
and only 2 left, and it's like, oh jeez.
But you know, like somebody had told me, I can't remember who told me this either. Oh, you don't need toilet paper. You've got a washcloth. As
Yeah,
long as you have water and a washcloth, that's all you need.
yeah. If you don't have water, you have a problem.
Yeah, if you don't have water, you have a problem. But
Right.
you know, so, but yeah.
You
But
know,
I must have to say that since I've been working from home, because after COVID hit, well, I moved home to work permanently just before COVID. And then when COVID hit, now we're all working permanently from home. But,
mhm.
you know, people are like, well, I don't know why you have to use so much toilet paper. And it's like, for one thing, most people are at home now. Before, the kids went to school, people went to work, they used their toilet paper there. Now they're at home and they're seeing how much toilet paper they actually use on a daily basis, you know? So,
I've actually been kind of thinking about getting a bidet.
they've been advertising them on YouTube a lot.
I just, they have those attachments and you can do
Mhm.
this, that, and I've used them before. I mean, an actual bidet, but like, yeah, that wouldn't be so bad. I mean, it's better than toilet paper anyway. I mean, but the thing that really bothered me was on April 3rd, my 4th daughter was born.
Cool, congrats.
And so, I mean, we had some little bit of supplies or whatever, and it never really occurred to us to, go out and just buy a whole bunch of crap, because guess what? It's not going to be available. I was sent out to go find baby wipes, and I ran to
Oh,
Target and Walmart and, here and there and blah, 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 blah. Finally, Sam's Club, Costco. And it's like, nobody has any stinking baby wipes. What in the, I mean, there's no toilet paper. There was a run on paper towels and napkins, and
yeah.
there's no, I mean, anything you could wipe your precious little butt with was
Yeah,
gone.
it was gone. Yeah.
And it's just like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Just absolute whatever. And people went so stupid nuts on that, and it's like, okay, canned goods and all that kind of stuff. That didn't seem to hit until later, but toilet paper of all things.
I know that was the first thing that went. It was
I
like,
can't eat it,
no, no.
I mean, you can go out into the yard and you can, drag your butt on the grass just like the dog does if you have to. But I mean, if you have no food, the pooping's not a problem,
Exactly.
and it's just like, what the hell? But
Yeah, and then it drove the prices up too, because
yeah,
everyone it was a premium item then.
An older gentleman, and I shouldn't say he's not that much older than me, but we were talking about it, and he explained to me that what he thinks it is that most of the young people, and he said basically anybody who's 45 or younger has never had to really struggle. There's a lot of people out there who've never had to struggle, and they didn't understand that, like if you live out in the middle of the country and there's a storm coming, that it's a possibility you aren't going to have lights, you aren't going to have this, you aren't going to have that. And so
Yep.
you have certain essentials that you can hurry up, I mean, you've got your little propane stove that you can fire up to, warm up, some soup or something like that. Maybe you did buy some MREs or, something like that. I mean, there's all these different, all the canned goods, plus, a lot of people can their vegetables from their gardens and blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of the way I was raised. Just to, you always had staples, and we always have staples in the house, as far as food goes and everything else, and frozen meats and whatever. And he thinks that the panic came in because the kids, the youngins, the millennials and the younger whatever generation they are, just they couldn't conceive not wiping their butt with and that was the first thing they thought of is, oh my god, toilet paper.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, yeah, I'm gonna grab some food, we'll figure this other thing out. But like I said, and even some of the older people, I think that had never actually had to had a day of struggle in their life, and what they consider a struggle is not whatever. I mean, I think we're snowed into the farm, I think, for like a week at one point in time. couldn't get out, lights would flicker on and off.
Yep.
You have candles, you had kerosene heaters, you had NIPCO heaters and, different things that, to keep the animals warm and keep your house warm, and everybody slept in one room in sleeping bags because that's the room you're keeping warm.
Yep, exactly.
You
Yep.
know, just stuff like that. And I don't think they've ever had to do anything like that,
They freak out if the lights go off for an hour or two.
Yeah.
Here in the city, it's just like, well,
it's the end.
it's the
Okay.
end, yeah. Well,
I
now
miss
with everyone,
Seinfeld, damn it.
yeah. Well, now
whatever.
everyone's so hooked to their computers and their cell phones and everything now too. My God, they would go nuts if the lights actually went out.
I am too. I'm hooked on my phone.
I am. Me too. Me too. I didn't think I ever would be, but
I think it's gotten worse over. You and I are both in kind of an IT, the realm of IT, and we were talking about that earlier. And I've always had, since the late 90s, some sort of a smartphone. I get messages. I'd be able to, find out whether or not something wasn't working. Processes that were running, and if I didn't get the consistent messages on something that completed, then it's like, shoot, and it was all based on emails and texts and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of grew into, the current smartphones where once you add in social media, okay, every time that thing dings, it's important. Okay.
Yes.
It's not really, but, and then I think it just kind of transferred to that. And it wasn't so bad, but I think when COVID hit and everything else, it's like, all of a sudden, this is the only means of communications I have with a few of the friends I want to keep in contact with, or I want to do this, or, you want to find out how your family's doing. It's just that damn phone, or, my favorite thing, I don't know this, so I'm going to look it up, whip out the phone and take a look at it instead. It's, Google and, or whatever your search engine is rules my life now because that's my knowledge base.
Yep, exactly. And I think TikTok has really taken off too. People making all their short little videos so they can communicate with each other.
I don't do TikTok.
I don't either. My sister, though, she's always sending me stuff on TikTok. Not my thing.
There's so many dumbass things on there. It's just like, no.
Yeah. Anyone from outer space checking our social media is going to go, boy, they're going to be easy to take over.
Well, I've kind of adopted the rule in the last probably, I'd say 2 months, that I shouldn't say a rule. I think it's more of a philosophy, but screwing around with my phone, if it isn't something that's going to contribute to my creativity or my authoring or my IT business, or, if it's not within 4 categories, I really don't care about it. So TikTok doesn't fall into any of those.
Mm-hmm.
I've already got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and a few other things that, I kind of deal with along with regular internet, and anything else. It's like, I don't need anything. I don't need Pinterest. I don't need, I really don't care how, who pinned up their meatloaf recipe. I've got a good one, type thing.
Yeah.
But
I post to Pinterest. I have a Pinterest account, but I don't follow it per se. I don't look for different pins and stuff, but I do post my stuff there, and I do get people who follow my blog from Pinterest still. See some of my books that I do featured books and stuff on my blog. But yeah.
So do you have does that work for you? Do you have a pretty good following on Pinterest? And
I really haven't looked at it, to tell you the truth. I just know every once in a while I'll get someone will come from Pinterest to my blog, because it shows you where they come from, and then they'll click on one of my past blogs that I did on a featured book or something.
Yeah.
I'd love to feature authors on my blog, so I do feature and free books and stuff like that on my blog.
How popular is your blog? How's that working out for you?
I've got over 200 followers on it, so I guess it's not too bad, but it's just it's not a gazillion.
It's better than 3.
Exactly, so yeah. And most of those come from my newsletter. I send out my newsletter, and then I direct them all to my blog for the different things that I do. And so then, like today, I sent out my newsletter, so I'll have this huge boom of views today, which is fine.
So how do you run your newsletter?
I do a little bit about myself. I always try to put something about myself in it, but I don't really have any new books that I'm working on currently. So I just do feature like this. I do story origin, and I'll do like newsletter swaps with other authors. So then I will put their books in my newsletter. I'll first do a post on my blog of the book, and then put the link in my newsletter about the book. And so that's how I get over to my blog.
Okay.
But
do you do it once a month, once a week,
twice a month?
Twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that's a good frequency, or?
It is. I think I know some people like to give them out once a week, and it's like, no, that's just too much.
I've got an author that I'm friends with that he does like 2 or 3 a week.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just
but does
like,
he have a full-time job?
No. Well, yeah,
Okay.
he's a full-time author.
Okay, well that's it then. You know, doing a blog post or doing a newsletter takes time.
Yeah.
You know, so I do it twice a month. And that's my readers seem to like it. You know, I think if I sent out more than that, I would start getting a lot more unsubscribes.
I just get irritated with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't unsubscribe because I like to see what he puts in there, because he's very creative. He's very good. But on the other hand, it's like, seriously, dude, another one. You know, I do one a month because I don't have a lot to say. I mean, you know, I may do a special one if I have something releasing, or if I'm in some sort of you know, if I find something that benefits my readers, like here's a cool giveaway, you know, or you know, something like that. Maybe I'll do 2 a month, but usually one every 4 or 5 weeks. And I think that's about enough, you know, just because I think it's irritating. And if you really want to follow me, then I think social media, you know, if you want to see something from me every day, then, you know, social media is the way to go.
Yeah. Facebook or Twitter or something. Yep.
You
exactly.
Know, and I've got a decent sized mailing list. I mean, it's not bad. You know, I know some people that got, you know, 20, 30,000. I got, I cleaned up my mailing list, which is funny. I got just a little over $5,000.
Okay,
you know.
You're doing better than me. I just cleaned up mine and went down to 37. So
yeah.
3,700. Yeah.
Well, by cleanup, I had 2 newsletters.
Okay.
And I was running one through MailerLite and one through MailChimp.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and then MailChimp stopped, and there's a reason I was doing MailChimp, and MailChimp stopped working with a few things that I was doing. And it's like, okay, I got it. It was stupid to do this in the first place, so I combined the 2, and then I cleaned up the duplicates, and then the people that have never opened a doggone thing, and you know, so whatever, and then I got it down to 5, like 506 or 5,006 or something like that. And it's like, okay, but.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest struggle is getting newsletter subscribers and keeping them, you know, because people are willing to put in their email address for a free book, but as soon as you send them that first newsletter, oh, hi, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how some people, I think it's good to have a newsletter in business in general.
I do too.
And I think it's good to have those you know, segmented and you know, and make sure that you know, you're working them through different activations and different newsletter things and different templates. And, you know, if they have never opened anything up, then put them into a, you know, like a cold bin basically, or something like that. And I think that's all fine and dandy, but keeping those email addresses just in case, you know, Facebook shuts you down for some reason, or you know, Instagram goes to hell, or you know, whatever. I think, you know, I think that makes an awful lot of sense. But on the other hand, I don't look at emails the same way I do as social media personally.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've unsubscribed to a lot of stuff that I just subscribed to earlier because it just is ongoing always. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
You know, I always think to myself, I'm going to read it. And then 3 months later, there it is, it's still in my inbox. And yeah.
All the salesy stuff, and all the people that are trying to help authors, you know, and you sign up, okay, let's see what they got. And then they never give you anything except for, you know, you could really use a lot of help here, you know, give me $90 a month and I'll do that, type thing. It's like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Give us $25 and we'll post to all of our 50,000 Facebook fans or 50,000 Twitter fans. And it's like, I've already done that myself. It doesn't work.
Well, and what's funny, I don't think anybody really understands. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say nobody understands, but you can have 50,000 Facebook followers on a page.
Yep.
And you send something out. What's your max penetration on that? Maybe is
Like
a couple
1 or
hundred.
2%. Yeah, something like that.
I mean,
It's Facebook.
Yeah, but if you want to boost that post and advertise to that group, then you certainly can. And they'll take your money to do that, and that's how they do it. So I mean, when somebody says they have, the Twitter thing drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I've got 300,000 people on my Twitter feed. Okay, you have 20 or 300,000 followers.
Yep.
And the chances of them actually seeing this post on Twitter, because Twitter just goes.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like a movie reel. I mean,
Yes.
you only see stuff. There are a couple people that I follow that I'll actually go to their Twitter feed and look at, so I don't miss their stuff. But that's only a few of them. The rest of them are like, if I see it, I see it. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah. When I first started really getting serious about my brand and stuff and trying to improve my, author platform, I really got heavy into Twitter. Oh, I was up at night following people and retweeting everybody. And after about a year, I wore myself out and I thought, it didn't make any difference. It made no difference at all. So,
and I think it's marginal. I mean, honestly, I think if you're going to make a difference on book sales or whatever, you got to advertise. I mean, that's all it is. It's a pay for play type deal.
It is.
I think there's some tricks you can do, but I mean, you have to have a substantial amount of stuff out there to be able to make that advertising really pay off. You're not going to advertise yourself to glory with one book.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah, I don't know if you've heard of 20 books to 50K Facebook group.
Craig Martell and Mike Randley. Yep.
Yes. Yep. And I joined them when I first started to and learned so much from them, but unfortunately I never pursued a lot of it myself. I just can't get serious about it sometimes, But they have some awesome wisdom in there, and they really do. You can't just promote one book. You have to have a series, at least have a series, or you can have standalone books as long as they're in the same realm, so readers can go one to the other. Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys have an awful lot of wisdom.
They really do an awful lot.
And I don't know if you follow Michael Anderle and his little his stable of writers that he has, but I mean, they release a book every day.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not every day, but I think I get something. I followed him on Amazon, and I think again email at least every other day. Michael Anderle released another book. I know it's one of these it's not always, one of his books, it's, something they co-wrote or, whatever. But I mean, good Lord, he's busy,
I know. And it's on Facebook. These other authors are like, I just never make any money. I don't have any sales. And it's like, you have to advertise. If you don't have the money, you're not going to go anywhere. You need to put money to make money. You need money to make money. That's the old adage, and it's true,
I think every now and then you see somebody that writes one book and it just goes kaboom.
Oh, and it does. Yeah.
But that's that one in, a million type thing.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I see an awful lot of people in some other groups that I have that, they release their first book and all of a sudden they're a best-selling Amazon author. And it's like, okay, and I'm fine with that title. And I know there's a lot of people disagree with me, but if you pick one of those really funky little subgenres that have, 5 books in it and the other 4 aren't selling and yours is the 5th and all of a sudden you're number 1.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it doesn't really mean a lot, and then when I found out, cause I mean, the other thing that I looked at was, my God, some of these people are USA Today best-selling authors.
No,
How
but
does
there's a
that
trick
happen?
to that now. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
You know, and you know, which is great. It's a hell of an accomplishment. But then you talk to them and you find out what they had to do that, and it's like,
They pay a fortune.
yeah. And same with the New
Yeah.
York Times, unless you're a big name. You
Yeah.
know, like if you're Will Smith and you just wrote a book, yeah, you're going to be a New York Times best-selling author because you can put $1 million into it and who cares?
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But the amount of advertising that some of these people are doing just to get the best-selling author, you know, USA Today. I mean, some people get it. Some
But
people don't.
it's those anthologies. That's how they'll get a number, like 20 different authors do a short story for an anthology. They pay a person a certain amount of money for them to put out all this advertising for it, and then they all get USA bestseller, you know, if it hits. And it's like, really, it's kind of like rigging the game in a way.
Well, you know, and I don't really, I guess I should say I don't think it's really rigging the game. It's the game.
Well, that's true. It is.
Yeah,
game.
it is just the
It
game.
is. It is.
You know, and if you want to spend your money that way, if you want to do that, you know, more power to you, really. I mean, you know, it is a wonderful thing to put on the back of your books or, you know, whatever. Me personally, probably about within more than a year ago, I really started not to care about any of that. So, I mean, it really came down, you know, somebody had announced in a group, hey, I'm a best-selling author now. I'll be like, woohoo.
All that is your ego. All that is just
I
to
am
massage
so
your
happy
own
for
ego.
you. Yeah.
Because even the New York Times bestseller or USA bestseller, readers really don't care about that. They don't.
Yeah.
You can slap it on your book, you can slap it on your bio, and then just go right over it. They don't even notice it.
Well, you know, the one thing that I do is I try and pick the real genre where I think it should go,
Yes.
so I can get sales.
Yes.
You know,
Because that's
and
what you want.
unfortunately, you know, when I look at the number 1 through 10, it's of where I write, you know, it's Stephen King, it's Dean Koontz,
Yep.
it's Shane
Yep.
Silvers. It's like,
You're never going to get there.
well, you know, if I do, damn it, I did something.
Yes, exactly.
But you know, I'm not going to beat Stephen King. Yeah, I'm just probably not going to, you know, and
Yeah.
that's fine. But I could put it in Swedish cookbooks and kick the shit out of, you know, Zelda,
Yeah.
the Magic Chef, and be a best-selling author. But you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I also think that Amazon ought to need to clean out all those old books that have been sitting out there without any sales on them for, you know, 2 or 3 years. Because I have books that I've reviewed on my blog post back in like 2014 or 15, and I go back and look at them sometimes, and they've never issued another book. You know, these authors have done maybe 1 or 2 books, got out of the game because they didn't work for them, and so they're just sitting there, and you know.
Yeah, but I kind of disagree with you. Why would you want to clean them out?
Because why would Amazon want to keep them there? No one's ever going to buy them.
Maybe not.
Yeah. If you look at the rankings on them, though.
Yeah, so they're ranked 4,522, you know, thousand, you know, whatever. I mean, I get that, but on the other hand, you know, if the author wants to keep it out there, I mean, where else is it going to be? I mean, it's Amazon. It's not only the largest bookstore in the world; it's probably the largest library.
That's true too. It is. Yep.
You know, and I get it that, you know, I mean, there's only, you know, in the physical brick and mortar world, there's only so much space. I mean, you'd want to keep it, you know, only put stuff on the shelves that are selling and everything else. But realistically, if they have 1 book out there, what's that? 2 megs, 3 megs worth of stuff, maybe 4.
Yeah, I guess I just wonder when Amazon's going to say that they don't want to store that content anymore on there, you know.
Yeah, and they may create another platform for that and say, here's an archive of, you know, books that don't sell.
Yeah, who knows?
You know, and name it something else. You know, or maybe they'll create a secondary store for, you know,
secondhand books.
Something like that. I mean, you know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And they're pretty creative on that kind of stuff. They'll find some way to sell it, but they do have, you know, they have access and control of that content. So I don't know why you get rid of it.
And there are some amazing books out there that are just lost and forgotten. That's the sad part. It always makes me sad when I go look and they have never written another book or continued with if it was a sequel, never continued. It's like, it was a good story, you know.
Mhm.
But life goes on and things happen. Who knows? Maybe they could have died. You know.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things. They could have, lost their
Mhm.
eyesight. They could have, done so many
Yep.
different things. I mean, whatever. I know some people that have some books sitting out there under pen names that they left out there because they did have some sales at one point in time or not, and then they rewrote them basically and renamed them, recovered them,
Oh, okay.
re-released them underneath a new pen name or their actual name.
Did
And
Amazon allow them to do that though?
yeah, they do.
Because they look at the copyright content. I thought I didn't think they would, because I know when I went from my publisher over to doing independent, then over to Norms, which is our publication company. Amazon was always like, "Are you sure you have rights to this?" Because it had been under another publisher's name.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's, well,
I've never switched publishers.
Okay.
Personally, but I did switch. I had two pen names, and I killed one. He died in a fiery car crash, and then the other one, because he didn't do very well, and the other one used to write some nonfiction stuff, and he also passed away, unfortunately. But the one that didn't do so good, I rewrote those books and put them underneath my name.
Oh, okay.
And I finally just got the audiobook taken off, so now I can put audiobooks back out there.
Do you use Audible or do you use Finaway?
I am going to use I might use Chirp.
Chirp, okay. Yeah, I would never use Audible again.
If I do, it's going to be, if I do use Audible, it's either going to be through a third party or else it's going to be the one where you can put it, not the non-exclusive. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Again, excuse me, I'm a little hungover. Anyway, I can't think of words to say. I can't wait till I try and write tonight. I'll be like, and. You ever go back and read something and you're just like, what the hell was I thinking? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Who the hell wrote this? Oh.
No, I usually impress myself. I go back and go, God, I really wrote that.
I wrote one. I was just brain dumping one day, and I wrote one entire page, and I don't even think I punctuated it. It looked like one big freaking 350 word sentence, and it's just like and there wasn't a cohesive thought in it. It's just like kind of all over the place. But this is and so I had to take it and I had to bust it up. Okay, I want this over here. I want this up here. Here's where this idea came. But I was just in, I don't know what kind of a mood I was in, but I was, I just, there's so many things floating in my head. I had to get them out and write them because I knew I was going to forget. It was like 2:30 in the morning.
Oh.
The next day I woke up and I looked at it, I'm like, holy crap.
I bet you have some weird dreams.
And I didn't drink last night. That's weird. All right. I know it was me, but yeah. Just one of those lucid states where you just like, and I actually had stuff in there from different books,
Oh my goodness. Yeah. They were knocking around and they needed to come out.
They just needed to come out. Yeah.
Yep.
There's some really great ideas just all
helter skelter
mashed together. But anyway, so what's your plan for these books? Are you you got the box set out? You said you might have another series coming out.
Yeah, I'm actually working on another book right now, Time Stones, and kind of working on my own little short story on the side right now too. So yeah. Well, right now we're trying to get, Julie and I are trying to get focused on 2021. We're trying to get our Norms Triad publications going again for 2021. So been revamping my website. I haven't done that. I
Well,
wanted to do it, but
let's talk a little bit about Triad Publications. What are you doing there?
Norms, it was a public, we got together, 3 of us, and said, we got away from our publisher, Creativity at the time, and who now changed their name to Next Chapter because it got such bad PR. And so, yeah, so we went together and said, we'll publish our own books under Norms Triad Publications. We got together, came up with the name, and so that's basically what it was, just publishing our books together under one brand. And then things happened with Julie, things happened with me, and we just kind of put it aside for a while. And then we brought someone on new in the middle of 2020, and she just brought all this insight and activity back to us. So now we're more focused again, and we want to redo we're still going to keep doing our books under Norms, but we're going to be offering some services on the side too. So things that we're looking at doing. So
all right. So you have
excited about
services
it.
for authors, and you're going to take on other authors as far as publishing goes?
No, I don't think we're going to do that. That's something I wanted to do, but now that we did a little bit of a couple of years ago, it's such a hassle. We did actually have someone that really wasn't in with us, and she was a pain. Having to deal with the personalities, and it was like, no, we're not going to do that again. So no, it's going to stay within the 4 of us, but it's just going to be offering other services, and I'm going to have to get back into my marketing again and do some more learning on that, because I'm the marketing guru for the company. It's like, okay, whatever.
Well, what kind of marketing do you do, or do you feel comfortable with?
Facebook. I feel good with Facebook. But because my Excalibur series is such a mashup, it's hard for me to really target a good audience with that. The read-through is not that great from book 1 to book 2, but if I can get them into book 2, they will usually go from book 2 to 3 to 4 with no problems.
You've been able to figure out why?
A lot of them just don't like Arthur. He is kind of an a-hole until you get to know him. It's also written in a different version. The first book is first person present term. The other books are all third person past.
Whoa, first person present?
That's how it was written. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was really, I know. But it works. It really works. And but then the other ones are all third person, past, present, or past term. And I have thought about rewriting it to past term, keeping it first but past, and it would be, oh my gosh, it would be hellacious to change all those terms or the verbiage around.
Yeah.
It's an undertaking.
See, I like writing first person past, because that's kind of what my genre expects. And then I like putting a third person limited chapter in there every now and then. I think that's a great idea. Then you've got the power to, as long as you can pull it off. Oh, I need to go over here and see what this is what's happening over here real quick. All right, now I can come back to my my main character.
See, and that's how mine is too. The first book is first person, but then we have other characters that come in as third party and different chapters. They have their own separate chapters, but that's how the story progresses. So
right,
it's
but present though, present's tough.
It is tough. Yeah, it is tough. Because you're used to doing everything past tense when you're writing. So it took a lot for me to keep making sure everything was present tense and not past tense. And then, of course, you're talking about things in the past too, in dialogue. So you do have past tense in there also.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I like. That's
Yeah.
Mixing the POVs, I think, is hard enough, but doing it in present that's tough. I mean, if you can pull it off, great. But I mean, I'd look at that and go, "Oh God, no!" Oh gee. From a writing perspective, that's where I go, nah, I'm not going to do that. But
yeah, and that's how
talented,
I don't know why he did it first person present. And I just never thought of changing it until after the fact, and thought, well, if I would have been better third or as past instead of present. But yeah,
when I first started, I thought that would be a really good idea. I really did. And then I read a book where they did that, and they kind of pulled it off and kind of didn't. And so then I tried to write, and after the first chapter, I'm like, ooh, this is tough. And then the second chapter, and then I talked to somebody that had no business giving me any answers.
Any advice?
I
Yeah.
found them on Facebook and said, hey, you want to help a guy out that you don't know that's trying to do this? And he smacked me across the head and said, don't do it. Here's
Yeah.
what you need to, here's how you need to start. If you absolutely need to do first person past. If you really want to be like everybody else and just, third person, just do third person limited. There you go.
Yep.
Whatever.
Because certain
And
genres are first person,
Yeah.
especially romances. But
well,
yeah,
a lot of urban fantasies, dark fantasies, I think are written in either first or third. Really
Mhm.
depends on the author and whether or not you can pull it off. I like the
Yeah.
first person just because, I want the reader to be able to figure out stuff as the main character figures things out,
Yes.
and I
Yep.
think it's easier to put those plot twists in there, but it's also easier to see what else is happening in the world if you just insert a real quick third person chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, there's some people that just write. I mean, I don't think there's any. Lots of people think that there's lots of rules out there, and then there's other people that like,
There's
screw
none.
your rules.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. And
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
buy my books, great, and if they don't, oh well. Yeah.
But we learn from our books, so the next ones will be hopefully better.
Yep. Nope.
And
I get that.
I can see that too, as I progress through the series. But yeah, if I ever, I just don't. I'm tired because I have re-edited that story, the first story, like about 3 different times, and I just don't want to go back through it again.
Yeah.
Push forward, not behind.
Right. And sometimes you just got to do that.
Yep.
I mean, just
Yep.
do it. It's out there. If you like it, great. If not, oh well. Here's the next step.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You have enough books out there. People go back and read your old stuff.
That's true. That's true.
But at least that's what they tell me. I don't know. We'll find out.
I know. I hear that too. But still, you have to have that marketing to get them to even recognize you or even to see you to begin with. So
Right.
yeah.
But that again, no business. Well, I shouldn't say no business, but most businesses don't start off just with a bang.
No.
I don't care what you're talking about, whether it's an IT business, whether you're selling produce on the corner, whatever. It takes some time to build things up.
It does. And these people who thought back in 2013, everyone thought they were going to make tons of money off of indie publishing. And so they all got on the bandwagon and then found out it wasn't quite that easy.
There's a ton of people that made a ton of money on teaching people how to self-publish.
Yes.
And they're probably the real winners of that
exactly.
time.
And there still are groups out there trying to do that same thing. I get approached all the time by Facebook groups wanting to join us for marketing, and it's like, and I'll look at them and go, no, sorry.
I got to be honest with you. I'm doing kind of that same thing.
Are you?
Kind of.
But this is what an author has to realize. If they're going to pay for a course, look at the books that the person who is doing the course, are they selling their books? If they're not selling their books, don't take the course, because then they don't know what they're doing.
Here's what I'm doing, and you tell me if you think it sucks or not. I've got an app that I'm developing. I'm screwing around with it and trying to figure out how to integrate with my website and everything else. And it's a coaching app, basically.
Okay.
So it's more like an accountability thing. But what you get to do is when you get into the program, you get videos on things, like if you want to know basic Facebook marketing, if you want to know basic Amazon marketing, that's fine. But then I refer you to people that actually do a really good job of like Brian Cohen for Amazon. I don't think there's anybody that does a better job advertising for Amazon than Brian Cohen.
I think Mark Dawson does.
Mark Dawson, I don't think does nearly as good on Amazon. Mark Dawson does really good on Facebook.
Okay. Okay.
I think he does a lot of stuff. But what I thought was really funny is that Mark Dawson hires Brian Cohen to do his Amazon
Oh,
spiels.
does he? I wasn't
Yeah.
aware of that. I might have to check out Mike Brian Cohen then.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, this last batch I looked at, and Amazon Amazon advertising by Brian Cohen. It's like, well, if Mark Dawson thinks he does a pretty good job, who am I to?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I got into Brian Cohen stuff, and he's brilliant. He's a good guy. Lives just down the road in Chicago here. So I mean, just and he is just a super nice guy. He's not, you don't, when you talk to Brian Cohen, you don't get that sleazy feeling that you get with a lot of people.
Yes.
And he has a free challenge that he does every quarter. So you can jump in. He'll give you it's a 5-day challenge. It lasts probably 10 days. And he'll teach you just guerrilla style. This is how you advertise. This is how you find keywords. And it's a real pushy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like it, then, buy his course. But so mine is you get to do challenges. Okay. So it's really an accountability app. So the main thing is I want you to write every day. You can choose to write every day, 3 days a week or 5 days a week. Then you pick your word goal.
Okay.
You pick your ultimate goal is how far out do you want to write your book? And then we go into challenges. So you can pick a 30 or 60-day challenge, and you can do this throughout the year. And one of them is a creativity challenge. Okay, here's a topic. I want you to write 300 words on this real quick. One of them is a journaling thing. Tell me what you did during the day, and you keep your journals in there and everything else. You track your daily word count or whatever your word count is. Yeah, at the end of the week, it tallies up and tells you whether or not you actually met your challenge. You met your goals or not.
Mm-hmm.
There is a sprint challenge in there to actually get your word counts up during the day. There's an efficiency challenge in there so that you can try and write things smaller.
Okay, so you're not just putting a lot of garbage words in there.
No, yeah, you're not doing word salad at this point. You're taking something and say, okay, take this 150 word thing and make it a 40 words.
Yes,
type
take
thing.
out all the gibberish.
Yeah, and it works on those types of skills. And basically have a year's worth of stuff that you can do to try and be a better writer. Now, if you fall behind, or if you aren't meeting your word count, and a little alert comes up on my desktop.
Ooh.
And it says, oh, hey, look, Sarah hasn't met her word count. Well, let's see. Hey, Sarah, I noticed that you haven't met your word count. What's going on?
The meanie.
Just kind of curious if you're not having a good time or not. What are you doing? And then you respond back, and then I respond, hey, would you like to have a phone call so we can talk about your lack of productivity?
Then you're going to hear a lot of excuses, but yeah.
That's okay. But I think it's a different, how everybody tries to get their accountability partners and try and get somebody to keep them.
I think it's a good idea myself, because you're right.
And it's just, I'm just going to put all these little different pieces in there, but basically I'll be your accountability partner. And I'll look, and then if you meet it, and if you're within a certain percentage, okay, you had a good week, bad week, whatever, I may send you a little email saying, hey, nice job. Maybe you can do better next week or whatever. And if you really fall down, then I'm just going to call you and say, hey, get off your arse.
You're not in the hospital, are you? No.
Did you lose your hands? We can do dictation. But I'm kind of that a-hole that would do that type of thing to somebody. Just call you and just put you right on the carpet and say, you know what? You need to write.
Need that.
Otherwise, you're not a writer.
Yep. You need
writer's right.
Yep.
You're not a writer right now, type thing. But
yep.
So I'm kind of doing that.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Some people need motivation, and that would be a way to do it. I've
talked to a lot of people that thought that was a halfway decent idea. Just nobody wants to actually babysit somebody like that. And it's like, well, I really don't, if they're, paying $29 a month or something like this for this thing. Okay. Yeah.
Would you limit it to how many people though would be members?
Yeah.
You'd have to, otherwise you could get overwhelmed.
Go nuts. Yeah. Like I said, it's going to be coming out here in the next couple of weeks, but I'll worry about limiting it if that's actually a problem.
You're right. Who's going to jump on it? Yep. Who's going to want to pay that monthly you know, authors are all broke. They have no money.
Right, but then they
So,
can pay, $3,000 for somebody to give them a video library of things to do.
yes, yeah.
And then they pay for it, they watch it, and then they don't actually do any of it.
Me, yeah.
And this way, I think, because I've taken Dawson's courses, and I've taken Cohen's courses and everything else, and it's like, I could throw some of that stuff in there. We can run through. There's an advertising thing in there for Facebook.
Have you taken Nick Stevenson's?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I bought every one of them. I just can't follow through with them. I wish I could. That's something I got to really motivate for next year. Follow through with them.
I think of the three, if I was going to rank them, I would rank Nick Stevens as 3.
That's 3. Yeah. That's kind of what my impression was too, just from the little bit that I've gone into it.
I like him. He's a funny guy.
He is.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he does as nice of a job as like Dawson does. Dawson just sits down, and Dawson may not be as smart as I think he is. It may just be that English accent that makes him just sound, that much more. That might add 50 IQ points. I don't know, but he does mesmerize me when he's sitting there talking. Now, all you have to do is this. Now, when I do this, I can't even do a good English accent, but it may be just that, Dawson may not be that smart. It's just his accent that makes me think, oh my God, he's brilliant, and like I said, Cohen does a really good job.
Yeah, it's all the data. Oh my God, getting into Excel files. That's what kind of just throws me for a loop too. Trying to gather all this data, and it's like, I am not a data person. So.
See, I've got, and I'm playing with this, but I've got a really stupid way of doing things. So I take my data from Amazon, I take my data from Facebook, and I do stupid things. I really do. And I'll explain to you what those stupid things are.
But you're an IT person, so you see things differently.
Right.
Yes.
So I take these different advertising platforms and I take some data that I get from other places, and I throw it all into an Access database. Okay. And then I sort through it, and I have these different connections and different theories I have on sales. I also take my my newsletter stats.
Okay.
I'll throw them in there too. And I screw around with what book or what anthology is doing what. I take reports. I get K-Lytics, and I also get I have Publisher Rocket.
Okay, I do too.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so I'll take all that up, I'll kind of mash the data up. And then when I see something, it's like, okay, what affected this? So then I'll either add something in or I'll take something out. So like for December, which is really a stupid thing, I cut my advertising at Amazon.
Well, I heard that advertising in Amazon for December was horrible anyway.
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah. That's what I don't know.
I know that my Facebook ads weren't nearly as effective in February as they have been in the past. I also know that my Amazon rankings really fluctuated. Of course, when I cut them, I didn't cut them out. I cut them way down to see what was happening, what was hitting, and everything else. And I'll take a look at keywords. I actually put a couple of more advertisements in there with very low budgets on some other keywords I was kind of screwing around with on different books. But I'll take all that and I'll look at it and say, okay, now if I raise this up, I do this, and it's the way I analyze it. Now I'll throw it into a spreadsheet after I've sorted through all that garbage and using Access, because I don't think Excel's a real great database. And then I come up with these weird theories on how things work and then play with it. So then my advertising for January, when I kick it around January next week, January 4th or whatever, will be based on what December looked like. So I'll do that this weekend. And
so do all those crazy ideas work then?
About 70% of them do.
That's not bad. That
so
is not
far.
bad.
It's not bad. It's not great.
No.
But sometimes I do, like I said, sometimes I'll jerk something out that's really working well. And, I'll talk to somebody like, why did you do that? I need to see if that, does this have the effect? If I increase this over here and I decrease this over here, and so I'm just playing with it. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it in the general scheme of things, I still either break even or make money on books.
Yeah.
I'm not dying here. So I mean, it's not like
that's about where I'm at. I break even or make just a tad.
Yeah, I mean,
that's on Facebook ads. So I've tried Amazon ads.
Yeah. I don't have bad luck with Amazon ads. I think that helps, but I think my general theory is that you do Amazon ads with really low budgets, kind of like what Cohen does.
Yep.
And then I think you enhance it with your newsletter.
Well, how does that enhance it?
Because I think that in just based on like I had we put this anthology out for Christmas.
Okay,
and it's for the Indie Fantasy Addicts group, and it's a Christmas present. It's for free on Amazon. Okay, we all did advertising on this, and I also cut my Amazon ads at the same time.
Okay.
My book sales were not that far off from what they were last year, and I didn't spend nearly as much money on Amazon. So I mean, if I could do a different release method with my books and cut my advertising a little bit, does that mean I make more money? I'm not at the 20 books phase, or anything like that. It's just, like I said, I'm just playing with it. It's kind of my hobby.
Yeah.
But, and then if I need to really increase the sales, then I go ahead and I do Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Those seem to have a better, a quicker effect. Or a BookBub ad. A BookBub ad can have a real quick effect in 5 days, but I find that after a 3 or 5 day period, it really doesn't do anything for you.
I've tried BookBub ads and they never really seem to go off for me either. There again, it's the targeting. The targeting is what you got to figure out.
Mine, like I said, first 3 days, and then it goes.
But are these on regular price, full price books, or on 99 cent or free?
Both.
Okay, because the thing with BookBub is most of those readers are used to free or 99 cent books. They are not readers that you really want, that are going to buy a full price book. That's my thought on it anyway.
For the most part, yeah, I agree. But I still see a sales spike on a $2.99 or a $3.99 book.
Okay.
So.
Mine are at $4.99.
Yeah, I haven't. Mine are probably shorter than yours. Mine are.
Oh, okay.
Mine are between 50 and 60,000 words. So, but
yeah, but don't underprice yourself.
What's that?
Don't underprice yourself.
At some point in time, I'll probably relook at that. I'm actually looking at raising prices just a little bit here. For
it never hurts to experiment with it. Find out. That's one thing they tell us all the time. Experiment. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We're sitting at a little bit over an hour here.
I know. I was thinking about that. Man, the time has gone by.
It has. We should probably wrap this up.
Yep.
So you have the Excalibur Saga, which is the complete series of which includes the Secret of
Excalibur. Yep.
And you've got some other books coming out. You've got all under Triad Publications.
Yep.
And you're going to be doing some other fun stuff, it sounds like.
Yes, we are for 2021.
Cool. You have to keep me apprised of what you guys are doing, then we can pump you up a little bit, maybe.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Do whatever.
Yeah.
Keep things up. Anything else you want to tell your readers real quick?
Just jump over to saharafoley.com. Come give me a look.
And I'll make sure all the links are in the podcast notes.
Okay.
So that if they are so inclined, they'll take a look at it.
Yes.
So,
thank you.
No problem. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
You too.
You. And you know what? I want you to have a great New Year's Day.
You too.
All right.
Go take a nap.
No, I can't do that. I got kids to play with. But on the other hand, you know what? I want to tell everybody else, keep your chin up. It's going to be a great year. I promise No, I don't promise.
Yeah, John, so don't promise that.
It's really up to you whether it's going to be a great year or if you're going to sit in your closet with your knees tucked in the fetal position, walking back and forth saying, it's almost over. It's almost over. Get out there and do something, create some stuff, write something, damn it.
Yes.
I don't know, whatever you're going to do.
Be positive. So I can
Maybe.
Yep.
Unless you write negative books, then be negative.
Yes. Yes.
All
Horror
right.
stories.
Yeah. Horror stories are positive. There's always a good moral undertone.
Yeah, I suppose.
Maybe not. I don't know. All right. Well, it's been very cool talking to you, Sarah. I appreciate it.
All righty.
With that, I'm going to bid you farewell. And anybody who's listening to this, please subscribe to my podcast channels or my YouTube channel or whatever. Find me on Facebook, DIY Writer. Look me up. You can find me anywhere. And subscribe, follow, do whatever you can just to keep this program up and running and popular, and make sure that you're supporting your indie authors or even your published authors. But read a book. Have a good day. Keep your chin up. Bye-bye.
Please hit the subscribe button. I get a bonus for every subscriber, and I only need 1,506 more to become a full-time paid employee. Help me, please.